Alex Ansary here. It is November 18th, 2016. In this video, I'm going to be introducing the hashtag free media, one word. And what I'm doing is I'm encouraging people to think outside the box of the construct of what has become known as the quote-unquote alternative media. And there's many reasons for that. It's not just this recent witch hunt within the alternative media for the fake news websites. It's the damage that's been done by prominent members of the alternative media, and unfortunately how influential they've been. I don't necessarily mean just the last election. I mean with a lot of things, with driving the narrative. People like Alex Jones, and of course the many people that are taking things that he says and running with it as fact. I will say that Alex Jones is instrumental in the term alternative media as well as We Are Change. And I think that if there are, just like political groups, if there are certain terms that over time become co-opted and, identify with certain schools of thought, certain ways of thinking, then it's not a good thing if you're truly an independent thinker who's beyond left or right. Now, free media, again, hashtag free media, is really a fusion, a hybrid of phrases, mixing things together. So we have independent media and we have the free press. And so bringing those together, we have free media. And so, while I'm outside the box, and I named my my Access TV show that for a very specific reason when I launched it back in 2004, 2005, Outside the Box TV with Alex Ansary, and of course Outside the Box Radio. Of course, we have the Outside the Box podcast. Of course, we have this YouTube channel where it's just a number of outside the box concepts and ideas. And so I've always stayed true to myself. So it's not about being anti any particular politician. It's being true to who I am and why I got involved in this movement. The movement has been called many things to many people. But when you identify with one particular name and one particular phrase, then in a way you're bound and limited. Then there's also the social peer pressure groups that so-called awake people think that they've escaped by joining the alternative media. But when you look at the main talking points of the alternative media today, or a lot of prominent people within the alternative media, they've gone from criticizing government to, and usually it's always just been one particular branch of government, not really a wholesale critical look, or having a wholesale critical look, for example, for a certain number of years, and then of course switching and going from the system's rigged to now it's working in our favor, this is the evidence, as if they were there that whole time to develop the trust of the audience while masquerading as independent, as alternative. And alternative media does not necessarily mean truthful media, as we could see from all those that have chosen to profit off of the free press and turn it into something perverted, called alternative media, where it's mostly truthful at first, and then of course things get perverted. Then of course, I'm not minimizing government involvement, intelligence agencies starting fake news websites, infiltrating literally quote-unquote the alternative media. And it's really not that free thinking, mainstream alternative media talking points when you really look at what's on Rinse.com and Infowars.com and Red Ice Creations and BeforeIt'sNews.com. That's not really spiritual. Someone claiming that they're channeling Ashtar and they're seeing that Putin is a walk-in from the Galactic Federation of Light. More nonsense that you're going to find on BeforeIt'sNews.com. I'm on record over a year ago saying this alternative media site that's like number one, it's like 80% disinformation. Like it or not, the alternative media has been co-opted. In some ways intentionally, in some ways unintentionally, in some ways by governments and intelligence groups, and sometimes, in some cases, by that person that's become very profitable or developed a very profitable business, individuals that profit off of going from one fear-based, sensational, less than true, not very accurate report to another. Because Google and Facebook, they've played their role in rewarding those that behave in a click clickbait manner. The whole thing is based on that, on getting people to click and thumb up, and just this whole thing. They condition people to be a certain way. Organic content, create organic content, be alternative media, don't just copy content, create your own content. Then they create your own content, and people add their own spin to it. Then people get really way out there in some cases, even if they use some hyperlinks to prove part of their case. But we see with certain websites and alternative media how far out there they've taken it. So I think about a free press, a free media, hashtag free media, representing freedom of body, mind, and spirit. A free media to where there are no racial tensions and obsessions with white genocide. There's a deeper understanding of what's going on, and there's obvious empathy for the victims of war. How can one be free on the inside if they have no feelings for some of these people? You know, how are they alternative than the mainstream media? Unless they're free enough in their own mind to report on the truth, especially if they claim to be exposing the new world order. Seriously, are you kidding me? Alternative is not truth. But then again, we look at truth media, and there are many different ways in which people have wrapped themselves in the flag of the word truth. And then we look at their understanding of truth as we go, oh my God, how did you somehow align that and that candidate and all this nonsense, being a 9/11 truth, for example, but also wanting to ban all Muslims, or being okay with someone who's pushing that rhetoric in a Muslim database? How is that truth? Yes, it's alternative. Sometimes it can seem a little schizophrenic. Truth? I think I should reevaluate what we think is truth, and what it means to be free. How is someone free if they're just living in this alternative reality and they're working the machine, milking the machine while it lasts? I think there may be some negative karmic consequences with putting out disinformation that leads to other people getting hurt. That part I do believe. People like that aren't going to free themselves from this matrix. So I believe in a hashtag free media. You have different ideas, including the spiritual, but it doesn't get co-opted to the new age. There's a lot of stuff in the alternative media that's a hybrid of fake conspiracy news or politically charged stuff, and literally the merging with the distorted new age. As I mentioned, the fake channeled messages calling Putin and Trump servants of the Galactic Federation of Light. Galactic Federation of Light and whatever's behind that, those channeled messages. They're all over these fake news websites. And then, of course, there's disclose.tv. There's a few others. The concern is, in this witch hunt within the alternative media, you know, that some people played a role in this. Alex Jones and others, they played a role in making the alternative media a target. So is Paul Joseph Watson, whether he's aware of what he's playing into or not. I have a hard time thinking that Paul Joseph Watson is not aware of what he's involved in. But I cannot underestimate the power of hypnosis for intelligent people to subconsciously, over time, fall under a form of hypnosis or a spell to where they are no longer serving the light, to where they are serving the agenda of the dark side. And they go from being a good Jedi to literally attempting to put on the helmet of power. And I see that in Paul Joseph Watson, I see that in Alex Jones, and they're co-opted in other ways that we don't know. So it's all speculation. But I can tell you, it's definitely alternative. It's also definitely material that I don't think they themselves have come up with. We also see certain types of fake news that almost seem to come in a syndicated way. So with the alternative media witch hunt, you know, it's important that we work to bring people together. And if we choose to align ourselves with something that is defined by that, not about building a one world government, but I'd like to see people across these lines. They've tried to get us to identify with left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And the people that acted like they were trying to help the people come together and get outside the left-right paradigm, boom, smack dab in the middle of promoting the current right movement in this country. That's fucked up. That's sabotage. That's sabotaging and misleading a whole lot of people that want to be free, but they're stuck in simply alternative. They're an alternative loop, chasing their tail. Yeah, engage in talking about banning all people from and assuming they're all terrorists. Yeah, that's real good karma. That's going to set you free. Uh-huh. Yeah. Ooh. Nothing to see here. Move along. I want to set people free. I want to set people free from this matrix. These things we talk about, these articles, these are just physical manifestations of something else going on in the spiritual soul prison. And this is not Dianetics. I do not follow Dianetics. There are other things that I bring into this. I have the freedom on my own channel to share my own Gnostic truth. But instead of encouraging people to necessarily go on the Gnostic path, instead I encourage people to have freedom of thought. And you can be free enough intellectually to where you can watch something even if you don't agree with someone 100%, and you can take what applies and leave the rest because you're free of a psychological bondage that it has to be a certain way. You're free of a fascistic way of thinking or a control freak left-wing extreme way of thinking. You're free of that. Your mind is free enough to hear someone's spiritual perspectives. You're free enough potentially to express it. I don't sit here and scream at you to join the resistance or buy now this particular something or other. I see how people have misused the gift of gab, if you will, the power of communication in this matrix. Again, the power of the clickbait and the misdirection, understanding where people's fears are, where people's concerns are, and then learning, wow, I'm really intelligent. I can figure out ways to draw people's attention this way and get a certain result and repeat, hit the button like the monkey, repeat, oh, oh, oh. And it's really not that sophisticated. It's like, oh, wow, so this is how social media works and getting them. Well, how can we actually now be a little bit more legitimate? They're just waking up to a few conspiracies, assuming they're going to kill us all. We see the past certain people try to take us on, and we see where we've been this last decade. Also, the big hopes for 2012, it wasn't just about doomsday, folks. There were people literally predicting the collective shift. So it's not just fake, negative, conspiracy, trash news that's infected the alternative media. It's spiritual teachings that have been perverted into a lot of the stuff being about the law of attraction and also Ashtar Command re-entering the scene for really global people that just don't get it yet regarding the Archons and their involvement in the New Age channeling movement. I mean, McFly. So I'm going to wrap things up. I hereby declare that today, November 18th, 2016, is the day that I talked about a true multiracial, multi-understanding, multi-political understanding and expression of what's going on. A fusion of independent media and the free press. The free media, hashtag free media, stands above the left-right. Okay? Cannot be put down by atheists that don't want to hear certain Gnostic thoughts. Constantly dealing with that atheistic energy in the controlled left. You know, God doesn't exist. We're just this. Let's just riot in the streets. I've just dealt with too much of it. It is so disrespectful for people to call themselves independent and alternative. They're alternative, all right. They're not really independent if you put down someone's spiritual truth. And I think that we really need to be looking more in the spiritual direction if we want to set ourselves free of this world. So hashtag free media. If you are really touched by this and you're a YouTube content creator and you're already making videos, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts and inviting you to join the free media. Whether Richie from Boston is listening, loved your appearance on Freeman, by the way. Or some of the other content creators that watch this channel, maybe do a shout out if you're watching. Be able to check out some of your videos. I like watching the videos of the people that watch this channel, believe it or not. And I'm always checking the subscriber list to see who's subscribing that creates content themselves. Because I genuinely enjoy, again, I used to call it alternative media. I've been in the alternative media for a long time. But I really am going to start looking at it as the free media. And free media regarding freedom of body, mind, and spirit should not be looked at solely as media that's being created now, but powerful lectures and radio shows that were left behind in the past. You know, there are some interesting shows from William Cooper, The Hour of the Time. I'm not saying I buy into everything that he says, and sometimes he sounds a little rude. But you know what? I kind of like the old-time radio, like his intro, like some of the other things. So when I think of, you know, free media, there's certain things that come up. But it's ultimately things that free our mind, not enslave our mind into some sort of a group think, some sort of a mind control Jedi trick. This is freedom. No, this is slavery. This is judgment. This is illusions of separation. This is a domestic police state. This is the database that we were warned about for years. You're talking about promoting the list. Oh, it's just for Muslims. Oh, they'll never use it on non-immigrants or non-Muslims. Get the fuck out of here. And tell that argument to someone that was born yesterday. I, Alex Ansary, November 18th, 2016, hereby declare today Free Media Day, the origin of the free media hashtag, activated already on social media. And so, if you support this video, share this video, free media, exodus from the alternative media begins. You know, it's not like I'm trying to play the role of that guy leading his people out of Egypt and into the promised land. And on the other hand, I can't shake this feeling. Alex Ansary, signing off. If you like this video and you make content, make another one. Hashtag free media. Talk to you next time.